What's up, y'all? Welcome back to a new episode of Studying Cinema with Cozy. Today we're going to be discussing Zoe Kravitz's directorial debut in Blink Twice, a movie that revolves around people such as P. Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein and all the heinous crimes that they have committed. Movie stars Channing Tatum as Slater King, and he's a multi-billionaire. He's a man that's been in the industry for many years. He's faced controversy, has bounced back from it. And, he throws elaborate galas, flies people out to private islands, all of the sorts. A little bit of P. Diddy, a little bit of Jeffrey Epstein. And we see how the main character in Frida is kind of obsessed with this man to a certain degree, to the point where she sneaks into the gala after working the gala as a waitress with her best friend Jess. And we see the symbolism early on in the movie between Jess and Frida, how Frida is wearing the red dress during the gala and Jess is wearing the blue one. The reason that's symbolic is because, of the balance between the two. It's a duality. There's a lot of duality that's showcased throughout this movie, symbolizing the Masonic tradition and rituals that be going on in the industry in Hollywood, You see how the woman dressed in red, Frida, she's more the one that's the chaotic and surprising spirit. She's more spontaneous to a certain degree. Jess, she has the blue dress on and she's more calm, she's more aware of her surroundings, and she's more laid back, more so out of the scene and out of the loop. Frida, she's really the main character in this whole story as is, so we see the movie basically through her lens most of the time. But you see how Frida and Jess, they sneak their way into the gala. They get close and rub shoulders with people that's in the gala, especially Slater. After Frida accidentally trips and falls and causes a scene, Slater helps her up, and now he has his attention on her throughout the rest of the party. They go on to have a good time. Everybody else, though, they're dressed in black and white. You see some characters that have a mix of like white shirt, black tux, and then you see other characters that have just straight black on. And a lot of the characters that I saw with just straight black on were characters that were later on the island as well. You see how, they have a good time at the gala. Towards the end of the gala, Slater King invites them to the endeavors that they're going to after. So Frida and Jess get on the plane and they fly out to another island, with the rest of the group. And it's about 5 ladies there and about 5 guys. And all of the characters to a certain degree represent certain individuals that we have seen in the industry. They have a character that to a certain degree represents Justin Bieber, another one that represents Ashton Kutcher, at least in my eyes, you feel me? And then we have Slater King, and that's a balance of Jeffrey Epstein and P. Diddy. You have another character that kind of represents Zach Galifianakis to a certain degree. But, these characters could be representing anybody, or they could just be characters that were basically written out for the sake of the movie. This is all just from Zoe Kravitz's mind at the end of the day. But she has been in the industry for many years. She was born into it. So it's very telling, like I said, that this movie will come out during 2024, the age of Aquarius, the year of the truth. And it's coming out during the time where everything that is going on in Hollywood is coming down, is crumbling. P. Diddy just got arrested. Jeffrey Epstein years ago went through his trial and everything. Ghislaine Maxwell went through her situation. And then we see how everybody else that's related to these people are kind of crumbling down as well. So this movie is very telling about the times that we're living in right now. But we see how they get to the island, and we see how they have to give all of their phones up. Once they give all of their phones up, they just, go off into their rooms. Everybody's kind of dressed in the same gowns and everything to a certain degree. And they just go on and have a good time for the rest of the weekend, or for the rest of the time that they're there. For as far as they know, they go on trips, psychedelic trips. They're smoking weed, drinking, partying, dancing, and everything is just kind of a vibe until nightfall comes. And the ladies, they don't know what's really going on when nightfall comes, because of this perfume that they're spraying on themselves every day. And this perfume is laced with a drug that we find out later on in the movie. But as we progress in the movie, we see how these ladies are just kind of reliving the same day. And we see how the same patterns are being repeated to a certain degree. And it's almost as if they don't remember the things that happened the previous day. No one's recalling that they're living in deja vu. There's one night when Jess, she gets bitten by a snake, because there's snakes on this island that are venomous, but they don't kill. When Slater King, when he notices a snake and his maintenance and staff notices a snake, they try to hurry up and kill it to get the snake out of the way. But this one particular night, a snake had bit Jess while they were partying. And, she panicked and everything. Later on in the night, she started to question everything that was going on. Like, Frida, it's kind of weird how this has been going on. We're just here. No one's really, acting normal. We don't have our phones. I want to go home. She just starts, panicking, but stays subtle. Later on in the movie, we see how Jess kind of disappears. It only gets questioned by Frida because, the next day after Jess gets bitten by the snake, Frida goes off and ventures off on her dolo. She goes off into this hut. And one of the maintenance people, which was a elder lady at the time, an indigenous woman from that island, from my understanding, she was in the bathroom of this hut. After Frida walked into the hut, she seen a bunch of bags filled with perfume that was just sitting there on shelves and everything, all nice and neat and everything spread out, all copacetic. She turns around and she sees that this maintenance lady is in the bathroom. And she seems to come off as a drunken lady, you feel me? She passes Frida the bottle of whatever she's drinking. Frida sips it, and she's like, "Ooh, that's strong," or whatever. And she figures out, through what the lady is translating or whatever, that she just drank the venom. And at this point, we see the lady tell Frida, "Run, rabbit, run, rabbit." To our understanding at that moment, we don't really understand why or what the symbolism is behind that. But we find out later in the movie. And it's crazy how the cycles in this movie are repeated. We go on and we see how Frida starts to question things later on because she's starting to go through the same things that Jess had went through. Jess had went through situations where she was throwing up, bleeding out the nose, and her consciousness started to come back. Frida's consciousness started to come back, and she realized that Jess was not there anymore because of the lighter that kept getting passed around from when they were smoking. It was Jess's lighter, and they will always ask Jess for the lighter every day. Like I said, living in deja vu. When they asked for the lighter this one particular day, Frida noticed that Jess was not around, and she questioned, "Where's Jess?" All of the other girls that were around did not know who Jess was. She started panicking. She was like, "Where's Jess? Where's Jess?" And from that point on, she was just questioning things like, "I don't know where my friend is," this and that. Another one of the ladies that's on the island by the name of Sarah, she was one of the people that in the movie was a contestant on the show, similar to Survivor or whatever. So she's in the industry to a certain degree, but she was a reality star. She's not really in the industry. So she's also on the island as grouped up with the rest of these girls. She's starting to kind of question why Frida would question where her friend was and why she couldn't remember where her friend was, but Frida could. Frida takes Sarah to the hut. She gives her the same venom, and we see how Sarah later on starts to come to her consciousness as well. It all culminates into them being able to sneak the venom into the system of the other two girls through just drinking, things of that nature. You do see the movie take a turn in terms of the theme and the vibe of the movie when they start to realize the situations they're in and them having to basically play a part to a certain degree now because they're not hit with this psychosis anymore. But they don't want to make it too known that they're aware because they don't know what these men might do to them. They start to recollect and remember all of the things that these men have been doing to them over these past couple of nights. And it ain't nothing good. It ain't nothing good. We do see a couple of scenes of what these men have been doing, and it's just nothing but horrific things. Everything that P. Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein were accused of doing is what we see being done to these women when they're sedated. So as these ladies are starting to come back to conscious, they're starting to remember everything that had happened to them. And once they remember everything, they start to take their anger and frustration out on these men. It all culminates into these women fighting back. Some of them get killed. Some of these men get killed. But in the end, Frida and Sarah survive. And they spare Slater King only because Frida uses Frida ends up using Slater King in the end, controlling him. And I guess from my understanding, in the end, she uses Slater King to get back at everybody that was abusing these women on these islands and put them in a state of blackmail to a certain degree. I don't think that she's continuing the tradition of trafficking once she's in control of the company. At least I would hope that she's turning the tide. Because, I don't know, the way the movie ended was just, it was a little, I don't know, to me. We do see in the end how she put the same perfume in the little vape pen that Slater King was smoking throughout the movie. And that caused him to remember everything that was going on. And I guess, I don't know if it caused him to remember everything, or just forget where he was at, or I don't know what it did per se. But it was almost like he was sedated throughout the whole movie too and didn't want to remember anything that had happened. Or he was just sedated throughout his whole being of living, because even when he returned to the gala at the very end of the movie, he's just jittery. He doesn't really, know what they're talking about when these people are talking in code. Either he doesn't know what they're talking about, or he's just trying to play it extra cool. But it's kind of coming off as if he doesn't know what they're talking about. So I think Frida is just, like I said, using Slater in the end. She really came from nothing. We do see how Frida was put in a cycle of, being on this island and then being put back out into the world, because the reason why the maintenance woman was saying run rabbit is because she had rabbits on her nails the last time she was on the island. This time around she had a lizard, because when she fell out of consciousness the last time she was on the island, the last thing that she saw was a green lizard. It's also very telling that the green lizard represents prosperity in certain spirituality realms. So, just a little symbolism that's thrown in this movie is very, 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 very telling. A lot of the things that people have been, dubbed as conspiracy theorists over has been put into this film. A lot of Masonic symbolism, a lot of ritualistic symbolism, a lot of representation of what exactly goes on behind the scenes in Hollywood. Like I said, with it being 2024, this movie is just one of the many movies that I've seen this year that are basically telling you what's really going on in this world. We see a movie like Speak No Evil, which touches on child trafficking. We see another movie like Late Night with the Devil that touches on the Bohemian Grove and the secret societies that's within the industry. And all of these movies coming out this year is just basically telling you that the world isn't what you may think it is, and everything isn't what it seems to be. The world is a stage, and it always has been. And I feel like the veil has been lifted for a lot of people finally, so they're starting to see what the world it really is and what has been going on around them all of these years. It's nothing good. A lot of shit is thrown in this movie, like the boiled egg. The boiled egg theory is supposed to be a theory based upon these people in the industry using a boiled egg to see if people are ready by sticking it in the what. And it's just a lot of that type of symbolism is thrown into this movie. A lot of stuff that may go over people's heads that they don't even know unless they have been, told or just come about it through research, But for the people that know, they know. And when they see this movie, they're going to be like, yeah, I know exactly what she's talking about. I know exactly where she got that from. And this is why people are saying these characters represent people like P. Diddy, Ashton Kutcher, Justin Bieber. We see it clear as day. It ain't even no game. You feel me? We see how this young boy looks like Justin Bieber, and how he's supposed to be younger than 21, how he wakes up with a black eye, aka the panda eyes, representing how these children are abused coming up in the industry. And how they tried to abuse him because they sprayed him with the same perfume at a certain point as the same perfume that they were spraying the woman with, so he could forget what was going on. So there's a lot of little things that were going on in this movie that was just showing you that they were doing the same thing to certain men and doing a lot of this stuff to women without them even recollecting what's even going on, to making them wipe their memory. We see how P. Diddy just got caught up with his case, came out with the GHB and the baby oil. You feel me? That's no good. Leave them people sedated and not knowing where they at, and in a state where they can't really control their mental or physical state. So all of this being played out in the movie lets you know that this stuff, life imitates art and vice versa. And so we see clear as day that this stuff ain't no joke. It ain't no game. And like I said, it's been going on. It's just that in the year of 2024, spiritual wise, this is what is meant to happen and should be showcased throughout this year. The year of the truth, the year of people knowing exactly what's going on. We're in the age of Aquarius. We're not in the same age that we were in before, where people were just blinded by the fact that these are stars, aka these celebrities are stars. These stars are falling now. These stars are falling, and all of these people that people have been praising for so many years are being brought back down to reality, to the point where, a lot of people are starting to turn their back on them. People are seeing them as the demons that they really are. P. Diddy, he's just one of the many that are out here. One of the many. People are bringing up names like Clive Davis. There's also people like Lucien Grange that's behind stuff like this as well. So it's a lot of layers to this industry, a lot of layers to this ritualistic lifestyle that these people live, this demon-like lifestyle that these people live. And a lot of people want to know the reason why these people get into the stuff that they do, especially with the, taking advantage of people. And it's all about sacral energy and harnessing other people's sacral energy, halting them from becoming the better people that they're supposed to be, and putting their sad negative energy onto the people that they're assaulting. You feel me? That's all it is. They're taking other people's energy, trying to become, higher within themselves through a negative light. That's all it is. These demons are just trying to gain power and gain energy through other people that they feel like have a lot of it. And they're just trying to slowly drain people of their energy. Slowly drain people through music, through movies, through any way, form of media, and through any physical way that they can. That's why it's very important to stay aware of what you're listening to, what you're focusing your ears and mind and eyes on, because a lot of these people in this world are, unbeknownst to you, are just taking your energy. They could be right next to you, or they could be the celebrities that you worship. This celebrity worship has to stop. This celebrity worship has to stop, and I feel like the tide is turning now that we're in 2024, and people are seeing some of these people for who they really are. I'm glad that a movie like this has come out so people could kind of see it in a better light, see it in a better perspective, because a lot of these people just think that all this stuff is fake. They think it's just a conspiracy. They think that it's all made up and glitz and glamour and games, but it ain't a joke. You feel me? Some of these people that have been kidnapping people, and a lot of people have been kidnapped and taken advantage of under our noses. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on in this world. So stay aware. Stay very aware. With that being said, I want to thank you all for tuning into this episode, Studying Cinema with Cozy. And we're going to be back at it. Like I said, there's a lot of symbolism in this movie that I could go on and on about, but I ain't trying to do that. We could make a part 2, but we'll see how the tides turn. You feel me? So make sure you guys like, subscribe, and tune into the next episode.